Now you're saying they're not on par with Manchester City. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said so as well. They're not going to be competing against City or Liverpool next season. That'll be a little bit too early for them. But where do they rank amongst the top 6 clubs for you? Not looking at the table, but just in terms of performances from this season. Would you say they're below Arsenal in terms of what they've achieved and what they can do? Chelsea?
Arsenal have got a rebuilding process, you know, and it takes. Me and Rene were talking about it sort of off air earlier. 2 or 3 at least transfer windows to get that process right. Manchester United's recruitment hasn't been right for some time. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to take another couple of transfer windows to get them on even keel. Chelsea have got a transfer ban potentially coming up. Might lose Hazard. The manager, will he stay, will he go? You know, Manchester City are settled. Liverpool are settled. Tottenham are pretty settled. The next three big clubs are all over the shop.
Of those three, which are best suited right now, anyway, to really challenge next season? Okay, obviously we don't know who they're going to buy, etc. But in terms of the manager, the players that are currently available to the managers and the club,
purely on
it's United.
Size of the club, spending power, and they still have got the nucleus here of a quality squad.
Yeah, I agree with that. The thing is, what has happened to United after Sir Alex Ferguson left, because he was there for such a long time. He created success, and then eventually, when that grows, there was a strong stability and continuity. And as soon as he left, that has gone out the window. You know, David Moyes came and went. Van Gaal came and went. You know, with sort of mixed success. Even Mourinho won the Europa League and maybe another trophy. But that stability and continuity is so important. And if you look to the clubs now, like City, who is together with Liverpool challenging for the title and doing well, there is stability and continuity. The vision is clear, the players that they recruited is clear, and it's exactly like Liverpool. And then you've got a continuity in performances, and that is what United need to get back to.
And even if the manager goes at Manchester City or Liverpool, there is a clear plan behind the scenes. You know who's in charge, you know what direction the club wants to head in, the type of football they're going to play, the type of players they're going to recruit. And that's
it will
why.
do, though. I will do, Danny, I have to say, I will like to see if Pep Guardiola at one point is going to leave. Again, it will be a big void.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you have to
very, very difficult.
You have to really pick the right manager then. And obviously certain players that have done so fantastically well are coming to the end of their career or they're getting a bit older. And that needs to refreshing as well. So that is a process that needs to take place. And Sir Alex Ferguson managed that so well over the years. He knew exactly when to release 2 or 3 players. No more. Keep the nucleus of the team the same. Bring some other ones in and we just keep sort of carrying on. And that is not easy to do.
Of course, well, that's why he was here for over 25 years, over a quarter of a century. But if you could turn back the clock, what is the one thing you would have changed when Sir Alex left? When David Moyes came and took charge, I think he spoke about it recently. Like, he spoke to you about staying on, and maybe it was a mistake that he didn't try to push harder, etc. I mean, what's your take? What could have been changed?
Well, the thing is, for me, there was only 2 ways for when Sir Alex Ferguson was leaving the club to solve it. I actually had this chat with David Gill, one of the pre-season tours in 2011. So there's only 2 ways to do it. The biggest challenge that you're going to get is manage Man United beyond the departure of Sir Alex Ferguson. You can do the 2 ways. Make him part of that transition and fade him out, or bring somebody from outside. If you want to safeguard that continuity and stability, keep him involved and make sure that somebody is up to scratch to manage the club of the size of Manchester United. It is different. Or you're going to bring in somebody from outside, and then there's a big danger that he wants to bring his own staff in, wants bring his own identity and his own style. And that is probably what happened, and it's not worked for the club.
No, I think you have to agree. I mean, you know, Rene was here, he's involved in this club, knows how big this club is, knows what the process was behind the scenes when Sir Alex Ferguson was here. You know, had his finger on the pulse of everything. I'm sure nothing happened here without his say-so, without him at least knowing about it.
Yeah.
And then when he went, it was a bit of a muddle, in all honesty. David Moyes come in, maybe the job was a little bit too big for him, obviously brought in all his staff, said 1 or 2 controversial things in the press, and he got off to a bad start. And once you start badly at a club, and especially a club like this, a global giant, it's very, very difficult to come back from that.
So again, the question, don't think it's really been answered. What would you have changed? Would it have been keeping some staff members of Sir Alex here? Would it have been a different
Rene
manager?
Meulensteen in charge.
All
would have been fine.
No, but, yeah, well, but we had a fantastic thing going, a fantastic organisation. But you can't replace Sir Alex Ferguson.
Of course,
that was the biggest thing to think about. But all the rest, let's say the machine room was in place. It was fine. You know, and the biggest thing that I think that Sir Alex Ferguson achieved in those 6 years that I was working with him was his ability to delegate and trust. Everybody knew what he was doing. You know, his man management skills were brilliant. Like Danny says, he knew exactly what was going on, but we went on with the job. We knew what is expected from us. The players knew what is expected from them. We won the league, I think, that year with 11 points. I think 11 points adrift. Yes, we had an aging squad, but still a very, very good squad.
You won the title in his final season.
And if Sir Alex Ferguson would have still been in charge, again, I think, yes, there would have been 2 or 3, probably 4 changes. Some players would have left the club, and again, we would have just carried on. I think that was the biggest thing for me. I would have probably, you know, looked at, and to be fairly honest, and I'll say something, I would have done everything in my power to bring Pep Guardiola to Manchester United.
You would have?
Yes, because I think his philosophy is so close, you know, in terms of their attacking, you know, the attacking way to play like we always wanted to play.
Do you think the club did try to touch base with Guardiola in that period?
I have no idea.
You don't know. What could have been?
Well,
what could have been?
You know,
would you agree that he would?
Definitely. You know, he clearly had a plan. He'd had the sort of sabbatical from Barcelona. He clearly was going to go to Munich. That was arranged already in advance. He obviously was learning German and everything else. Maybe they did, but I think the biggest problem was maybe they never really thought about when Sir Alex Ferguson retired or when he left, and the plan wasn't put in place. Recruitment after that started to fall away a little bit. The players that were brought in after that maybe weren't quite up to the standard.
There's some blame for this?
Yeah. You know, I think we've said it this some time, and lots of, you know, Manchester United legends have said, you know, that the club, when Sir Alex Ferguson left, suddenly the structure fell apart from the top. David Gill left at a very, very similar time.
Yeah.
2 of the most influential people at this football club that there have ever been, you know, and the 2 of the most important, working together as a team on recruitment, on planning, all those sorts of things. And when they go, the process after that, they didn't get it right.
Okay, has this club become too much of a commercial entity? Has it become too focused on the business side of things? In Malaysia, when I'm driving down the road, I see Manchester United advertising tyres. There's Pogba's face there, I think, and a few of the other players. It doesn't seem to much focus on the football. Yeah,
well, that's maybe a better way of saying it. I think they may have lost the focus on really what really matters. That first and foremost, Manchester United is a football club. You know, the biggest one in the world. If so, but yes, we do know that the owners were very keen in getting their hands on Manchester United for that purpose, for that reason, and they've done a fantastic job. They've built that club to an unbelievable world brand. Fantastic, no worries. But at the same time, when Sir Alex Ferguson was still in charge, they sort of took the results and the trophies for granted, and you cannot take any.
And that's what I think. I mean, he'd been so integral to this football club, you know, and like I said, finger on every single pulse. I'm sure, you know, there wasn't a single decision made without his say-so. They probably just assumed that everything was in place. It's a great squad, you know, the academy, everything else was sorted. We'll just carry on as normal. And of course, when somebody that influential, that great leaves, it doesn't always happen like that.
Okay, we're going to hear from Pep Guardiola shortly, but before that, what about the commercial activities of the players in that case? What if your teammate was putting up videos selling his brand of clothes on social media and celebrating dance moves and practicing it?
Couldn't
and
care
what
less.
would you wouldn't care?
No,
and as a manager?
If he's doing it on the pitch, it's not an issue.
But if they're not, that's my point.
Yeah,
they're not doing it on the pitch.
But then you have to, does it really make a huge difference? Is that taken away from their performance, or is it just a stick to beat them with? If they were winning games and that was happening,
so it doesn't matter.
I don't think so. You know, players are now, the world has changed. Players are now a huge commercial entity. You know, Paul Pogba is one of the most marketable players on the planet. Whether he's playing great or not, that's going to be the case. So he's going to be on posters. He's going to be doing these type of things.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing, and it's everywhere. I mean, the world has changed, like you rightly said. And look at David Beckham when he left. You know, he's become one of the biggest stars, you know, as a football in the world. It's not going to go away like social media. The key is you need to manage it. You need to manage it that it works for you, not against you.
Sir Alex would have been able to manage the social media side of life and the way that the players are, because it's not just about the players. it's life in general. We've all changed.
Yes.
We all do things differently.
Yes.
Do you think he would have been able to adapt to how?
Yes. Yes, I think
it has changed.
Yes, because if you look at his longevity, you know, how long he's been in the game, and how much difference he's gone through. That was one of his biggest strengths, to adapt. But he also made sure that he always knew that what sort of an influence has it, and how do we need to manage it to make sure it doesn't have a negative effect on us, and how can we make it for us? And that's the most important thing. But I'm sure you would have managed that, sure.
Can I just ask, back when you were, say, with England, and you had David Beckham there, when you were at Leeds, Beckham was the biggest thing in football. I mean, he's still one of the biggest things in football. Not talking about his ability, but just the brand itself. How did you find it when you're on tour with England and then suddenly all this attention, all the...
we jumped on the bandwagon and took all the freebies we could take.
Okay, it wasn't a distraction in any sense.
We took the free golf clubs, the free whatever was coming our way. We were like, yeah, just kept pushing bets out. We'll have the freebies off the back. No, of course, there is a point where it has to be managed, and it was. There was one or two times where players thought, oh, hang on a minute, he's maybe got a little bit too much control, and I think Sven afforded him that at times. He dictated when we train at times, where we train at times. He didn't want to train at Carrington. He didn't want to come and see Sir Alex. He didn't want to bump into him, so we didn't train at Carrington.
David Beckham.
Yeah, we trained at the Cliff. and you know the difference in standard between the Cliff and Carrington was, hang on a minute, what's going on here? You know, and he would change times. We'd go to dinner when he wanted to go. But that was Sven's problem. Sven allowed him to do that. You know, he was huge commercially. Sir Alex would have never let him get away with that. And that was the difference. So, but we understood it. So, yes, we understood at times there was a downside, but equally, when there was the upside, you know, when there was he was doing the contracts and the bonuses and the sponsorship. Oh no, we put our hands up and we took it. Don't worry about that.
It's just that now it's not just one player, is it? I mean, it's several players more likely than just a Beckham. Now there's a Pogba, there's a Lingard, a Rashford, Lukaku.
I mean, just an example. If we would be on pre-season tour, there was always a commercial aspect to it, and there was a lot of things that needed to be done. But while Sir Alex Ferguson was there, those things were very, very sharply organised, and it really took limited time of the players and very little disruption. If I hear now what all those players have to do, because there's so many sponsors at this club, and they all want a piece of the slice of the cake.
Commercial entity like ours.
So they have to come
let's
up
be honest, though, but we want to play it afterwards. You know, if you look down the line, what are we talking here? 12 worldwide media outlets all want a player. Well, we all want a piece of the pie. We all want that little bit. We all want that exclusive. So therefore, there is much more to do. Back in the day, it was like one player went out, did one interview to 10 people.
Mostly Beckham.
Yeah, and then left. And that was it. Simple as. You know, now, the world has changed, the game has changed. And it's like anything in life. You have to adapt with the times.
Did you enjoy these interviews after a game?
I did. I did used to enjoy it. I didn't have an issue with it. I was always thrown out there.
Good talker, Danny.
Well, no, but you know, I was quite happy to do it. It's not a problem. I think some players now, because us in the media, we take things out of context. You hear one little quote and suddenly it becomes a headline.
Yeah.
I think players are a little bit fearful now of saying something not controversial, even interesting at times. And the next thing you know, it's all over the papers, the front page, the back page. It's getting repeated on news channel after news channel. And I think that's sometimes why you do get players being a little bit reserved and a little bit bland in interviews.